This world is full of exit ramps. It's the road of life, but you just get one chance. And you got to go where you feel. I don't buy any squawk or talk about predetermination before you can walk. I got a feeling it's much more real. Don't go looking for sweetness in the bottom of a pickle barrel. Don't go looking for hard rock in the tune of the wildwood flower. Don't go looking for true love down at the corner bar. Don't search for sunrise in the day's final hour. Don't get me wrong, I surely believe in the Lord above and that He's looking after me. There's no one in here, you can sit by me. I've been making maple syrup in Pennsylvania since I was about 9 or 10 years old. I went to the library and read a book on how to do it, and I've kind of been hooked ever since. It's just a fun way to make a sugary snack in the snowy season of Pennsylvania. You don't need anything real fancy. I still prefer a hand drill. You can use, a battery-powered drill, but after a couple of trees, you're going to be out of battery power. This is breakfast-powered, right, Keller? So, nice drill. Make sure your drill bit is a similar size as your next tool that you're going to need. Your maple spile or maple taps. You can usually get these, if not from your local hardware store, they can special order them for you. That's what I did here with Kohl's Hardware in Danville when I was a kid. They ordered me a couple dozen. But nowadays you can get them online pretty cheap. And if you want to make your own, it's nothing special. I mean, it's just a hollow pipe. Now, you might want to be careful what metals you use. I've heard copper isn't real good for trees, so I don't recommend putting a copper pipe inside of a tree. You might end up actually killing the tree. These are aluminum. I've also seen cast iron. So whatever size tap or spile you have, you want a similar size drill. And also, you're going to want to have a hammer just to tap your tap or spile into the tree. Don't get carried away tapping that in. If you tap it in too hard, you'll actually split the tree and end up injuring it. You just want to tap it in just a bit. And then I usually carry a pocket of string to tie my, in this case I use just gallon plastic jugs. It's a great way to recycle something after I'm done with juice. Or in this case it came from my Lewisburg High School cafeteria. The ladies were nice enough to save me a pancake maple syrup container by the gallon. Only this one probably was corn syrup, and now we're making the real thing out of it. So, and usually your best weeks to make maple syrup, you're looking at mid-February through early March. But again, it's based not only on sunlight, but it's also based on the temperatures. What you want real cold nights and kind of mild days. You don't want hot days. You don't want to get up into the 60 and 70 degree days, but you want it to kind of get down in the teens and 20s at night. And then you want it to come up just into the high 30s, low 40s in the day. And a good sized tree, you'll get about a gallon of sap per day. And I caution you, don't bite off more than you can chew. If you decide you want to try this on your own, tap just a couple trees your first year. If you get out there and you start tapping 20, 30, 40 trees, and all of a sudden you got 20, 30, or 40 gallons of sap a day that you need to boil down, you're going to be overwhelmed. So start out slow and increase it every year is my advice. Let's get tapping a few more. Go looking for sweetness in the bottom of a pickle barrel. Don't go looking for hard rock in the tune of the wildwood flower. Don't go looking for true love down at the corner bar. Don't search for sunrise in the day's final hour. You can make syrup from any maple tree. You have sugar maple, which has the highest sugar content. That's going to be about 3%. And then silver and red maple. This here is a red maple. On my property, that's pretty much all I have, so that's what I'm using. If you aren't real good at identifying trees without their leaves on, one trick you can do is go out in the summer or fall while they still have their leaves on, identify your maples and mark them with ribbon or something. That way you know when it comes springtime, when there's no leaves, you know which trees were the maples. The way you can tell without leaves is by the branching pattern. There's only a few trees in Pennsylvania that have what's called opposite branching, a branch on each side of the limb. And so what we have here is either maple, ash, or dogwood. And a nice trick for narrowing down to the maples, especially the red maple, you're going to have like a reddish color in the buds and in the stems. So there's really no other thing that I can think of in Pennsylvania that's going to have that appearance. Don't go looking for sweetness in the bottom of a pickle barrel. Don't go looking for hard rock in the tune of the wildwood flower. Don't go looking for true love down at the corner bar. Don't search for sunrise in the day's final hour. So red is red and black is blue. What it is for me may not be for you. I didn't mean that when I wrote this song. Everyone's got their own beliefs, and that's about the coolest thing to me. I just offer my thoughts, right or wrong. Once the syrup kind of gets down to a little thicker consistency, something a little more reminiscent of syrup. Now keep in mind, even though it still looks watery, it's really hot, so obviously when it's really warm it's going to act a little bit more watery. But that's getting to the consistency where I want to now pour it down to a smaller container so I can monitor it a little better. Plus it makes pouring it into bottles easier at the end. Now that's not finished syrup yet, but that's probably, I bet you that's now 8 gallons of sap. So 8 gallons of sap from our red maple species, and when this is cooked down, we'll be lucky to get a pint of syrup out of this. So a lot of sap has to be boiled away. It really helps if you have sugar maple trees. Sugar maple, you're going to get twice the amount of syrup in the end. So we'll keep burning this down and see how it turns out. Alright, so here we are with this is about 7 or 8 gallons worth of sap boiled down. And even though it still looks watery, it's very hot. This just came off the stove, so it's going to act a little bit more watery. So I usually use a funnel. Makes it a little bit easier. And I'm pouring it in hot. Perfect. Alright, so that's about 8 gallons of sap from a red maple. And what did we get? About maybe a pint. I forget how much these hold. 12 fluid ounces.
Wow.
So that's not too bad. And again, it might look a little watery, but once it's very hot. Once that starts to cool, that should be firmed up to just the right consistency. Montour County maple syrup.
How is it, Luke?
Don't go looking for true love down at the corner bar. Don't search for sunrise in the day's final hour. Don't get me wrong, I surely believe in the Lord above and that He's looking after me.